thank you all for coming today. This press conference with the Ohio Election Justice Campaign is really important for where elections are in the state of Ohio this year. There are many things from the year 2004 that have not been resolved. Many of the same people running the elections continue to be running the elections. Problems unresolved that between many state agencies have not been resolved. This would include the Attorney General's office, the Secretary of State's office, the State Auditor's office, and we have put our requests out to many others to help us with this, from the United States Congress down to Columbus Police to the Highway Patrol, and we continue to work on this, and we're not giving it up until it's resolved, because this country deserves it, our children deserve it, and we'll settle with nothing less. So I call you here today to discuss a very important letter that will be going to the Ohio legislature. And in this letter, which is here on the table, and you're all welcome to a copy of it, we're going to be asking that the Ohio legislature expand the powers of Thomas P. Charles, the Inspector General, to look beyond the office of the Attorney General to things that tie into the office of the Attorney General. And in specific terms, what I would like them to look at is what appears to be a cover-up of the theft of the 2004 election, of which we have many things documented in regards to this cover-up. The Attorney General's office has been approached with a request for a meeting that came together last summer. This is real important because this request became very strong after the Office of Special Investigations at the Bureau of Criminal Identification and a gentleman named Lloyd Early, who was the director, came forward and asked for evidence on election theft, fraud issues, and said he had time to deal with it. Much information was given to him. They later decided not to do anything with it. They later, from record requests that I have made, they have instead taken this information provided to them, belittled it, ignored it, made fun of myself, made fun of my group. We are citizens who volunteer our time and literally fund our record requests with our grocery money. And to see what has happened here is atrocious. From the Attorney General's office, this ties into other state offices. The Auditor of State becomes really important in this, and therefore our request for the legislature to allow the Inspector General to look at that office also. So that would be a small widening of his powers, but the Auditor's office ties in because the Auditor's office should be protecting the state's records. There is a certain pathway that records being destroyed by counties have to go through. They all have to be approved by the state auditor's office. The form for that is called an RC3 form. I have samples of that here. My group went through and looked at these forms for across the state. Many of the boards of elections have not been doing their work. The state auditor's office has not been doing their work. The records were ordered in, protected by a judge. These records went through protective orders in court, where the Attorney General's office assured the judge and assured, this would be Judge Carr, and assured him that these records would be protected. They tie into the whole story of us asking to have this looked at. The connections into the Attorney General's office are there because the Attorney General's office is who assured the judge that the records would be protected. So that you know, 56 of Ohio's 88 counties destroyed all or part of these records. Now, in what we're asking to be done, we want not only the current Auditor of State, Mary Taylor's office looked at, but former Auditor of State Betty Montgomery. Most of the record destruction happened under Betty Montgomery. But in our research, looking at the order on the records for the destruction of the ballots, of poll books, of signature books, what we found with that is that the destruction of these records is still ongoing. Last summer, Claremont County, the director of its name is Mike Keeley. Mike Keeley signed off that they were still destroying poll books and tally sheets. Those are part of the protected records. This was brought to the attention of the Auditor of State's office and the Secretary of State's office and the Attorney General's office. Nothing has been done. And where this ties in this year that's so important, we're in another presidential election year, okay? As the Auditor of State's office, I asked them, even though the counties are not going through proper procedures, can they at least start teaching them what these procedures are, that they follow it? They have to have permission from several agencies before they destroy anything. And could the Auditor of State at least start teaching? What I was told is that that was not going to happen. And from a woman there with the name of Rose, this was a very troubling thing I was told, but maybe one of the most honest things in the last few years of my research. She told me that the laws are self-enforcing in Ohio. Well, regarding the whole records and the retention of them, the laws are self-enforcing. Okay, we're coming in on another election year. What's to say that the next round of records are going to be saved? In Ohio, the election system is not in a healthy place. What if these records need looked at yet again? In 2004, we had several counties that in 60 days wrote in their letters to the Secretary of State that they destroyed the unused ballots. To do an audit, you need those ballots. If you have a precinct where 500 people are registered, you had 500 ballots there ready, you probably actually had some extra. Let's say you had 600 on hand. At the end of the day, 400 people showed up and voted. You should still have 200 unused ballots. If you were someone who would rig an election, what would you need to do it? Unused ballots, okay? The importance of those, it's really critical. So we had several Ohio counties who destroyed unused ballots before the presidential election was even certified, which was January 6, 2005, and I was there in the Senate gallery when the whole debate on Ohio's election happened. This is real serious, okay? If you can't even look at the records, and then let's take it back to not only were they protected by a record retention schedule, not only should they have been protected as Judge Carr and the League of Women Voters were assured they would be by the Attorney General's office, but by law, the Auditor's office has to protect those records in the record retention schedule. And Judge Marbley has an order also. So once again, layer upon layer on protection. Research I did last summer showed at least 6 different times, and I now have learned of several more times, that those records should have been protected, that the boards of elections knew. And I don't know how familiar you are with the excuses that were given, but in many of the counties, the excuses were atrocious. One of the worst is Holmes County, who threw away 6 to 10 boxes of records because a 10-cup coffee pot got broken when the records fell onto them, so they rushed them quickly to the dumpster.